Hey, this is Hans from Dakota Angler and Outfitter. Today we're tying Douglas Ouellette's Sweet Pea Jig. You can find this one commercially tied by Umpqua Feather Merchants, but we've had some requests on how to tie it lately, so I'm going to do a quick video on it. We've got a jig hook in the vise. This is our Dakota Angler jig hook with a copper slotted bead. This one's a 14. This fishes well in 14s, 16s, and 18s. I've got some 70 denier brown olive thread. I'll start right below the bead, or behind the bead. Take my thread all the way towards the back of the hook, stop just shy of the end of the hook shank, and then trim off my excess. Now, some of the commercial versions of this fly, commercially tied, I've seen them use barred teal for the tail, which is nice. It's got really nice barring to it, but it doesn't tend to be as durable. If you want a tail that maybe has a little more movement, it's a softer fiber and still good barring, then the teal is a good choice. If you want something that stands up a little more while fishing, I would use Coq de Leon, which also has that speckling and barring, but is also just going to be a little more durable. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to tie in the tail, the back of the hook, take my thread up to the front, I'll trim off our excess. Now, this fly uses stripped peacock herl for the or peacock quill for the body of the fly. There's one I stripped myself. If you want to save yourself some time, you can just buy the Polish quills. They're already stripped. They come in a bunch of different colors, so you could vary the color of this pattern a little bit more than just the natural you strip yourself. Save yourself some time as well. Since I bothered to strip this one, I'm just going to use the one I stripped myself. I'll tie that in back by the bead. Take our thread back to our tie-in point for our tail. Then advance our thread back forward, making a nice smooth underbody. And we'll wrap our peacock herl in nice touching wraps to make sure we cover up that thread. And then we get about 2/3 of the way to the bead. We can tie that off and then trim off the excess. There we go. Now this fly has a flashback, and the original is opal tinsel, opal mirage tinsel from Wapsi. I'm going to use ice blue tinsel from Wapsi, which is a little more of a UV tint to it, but both are good options for this fly. Let's go ahead and take a piece of tinsel, tie that in. And now we'll do peacock herl for a thorax. You could also use a peacock style dubbing here too, like Arizona peacock. But we will take a nice piece of, let's do 2 pieces of peacock herl. I'll trim off a little bit here. Tie that in. Wrap a few wraps to build up a nice little thorax. Tie off your excess. I'll fold those back, get a couple wraps in front, and we'll trim off our extra herl. Pull the flash back over to the top. Couple wraps, fold it back, take off the excess, Do a whip finish. One more for good measure. And there we go. Sweet Pea Jig. This is a 14, but you can tie this down to an 18. We have 18 jig hooks in stock now. So depending on time of the season, how high the water is, how deep you want to get down, just vary your size of your jig. And if you wanted to make that peacock curl body a little more durable, you could put some UV resin on it before you before you tied in your flashback and all of that. But there we go. Super effective jig pattern. Tie some up. Keep them nice and skinny like this. They're more effective when they're slender than if they're over tied. I'm Hans from Dakota Angler and Outfitter. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon.